start the class, and today's class is based on the conciseness and clarity. So, for the sake of example, if I can divide your letter into three parts, this is your intro, and this is your conclusion, and rest of the part is your body. Like even it's a referral letter, or discharge letter, or transfer letter, or so on. So, for the sake of example, beside your you can say paragraphing that we would do further on in the letter, if I can divide your task into two parts, for the sake of example, now this part is less relevant and this part is more relevant. So, and the most important thing that you have to keep in your mind, first of all, you would have to apply the criteria of content. That means that you have to select the relevant case notes. Once you have the filter of relevant, now all information in this part is relevant. You need to see which part of information is less relevant and which part of your information is more relevant. So, irrespective of type of letter, this is a general rule to remember that less relevant history should be summarized. We will further explain what I mean by less relevant, but whatever type of letter it is, you have to see if it is less relevant, it should be written in summary form. The challenge that you may encounter in OET writing is always that the information that is less relevant, it would be given in the case notes. Like there are more of the points, more of the visits, like one, two, three, four maybe visits, and only one visit would be more relevant, and these three or four visits will be less relevant. So there will be a plenty of data that has been given to you in the case notes that is less relevant, and your skill will be tested to summarize them down, right? So first of all, we will discuss, let's say, if there is some information, maybe in this writing case notes, maybe first visit, right? Maybe second visit, maybe third visit, and we have total of four visits. Now this is today's visit, the most important visit, and rest of the three visits are less important. And there might be two, we can say, scenarios in case of referral letter. First of all, there will be repetition, repetitive event, right? There will be repetition of the things. Number second, there will be progression of the problem. Either we have repetition or else we have progression. Repetition means if the patient is having, let's say, that the case I will discuss with you is the mild chest pain, and he visited with you thrice with mild chest pain, like on three different occasions with different dates. So that is basically your repetition of event. And let's say if there is a worsening of condition, if there is a worsening of condition, then we have the same thing that we have to summarize. It's the progression of the same condition. So, in this case, if in these three visits, either we have repetition or either the condition has worsened, so we have to summarize that information if it's less relevant as compared to the most relevant detail, the most important details, right? Okay, so before we can show you the case notes, which tense is more preferred, like to summarize the information? To answer this question, we do use perfect form of the tense. We prefer to use, not necessary, to use the perfect form of tense. So depending upon the event that you are summarizing, either it could be present perfect continuous or else it could be past perfect or perfect continuous, right? So either it is present perfect continuous or either it is past perfect continuous, right? So it depends upon, let's say, if something started in the past, let's say mild chest pain, and the patient had this mild chest pain in first, second, third visit. So it's a repetition of the events. But now in the fourth visit, the pain intensity has changed from mild to severe. So now this mild event has finished, It's remain continue for a period of time. So we use past perfect now, right? In this, for this summary of these three visits has to be done in past perfect tense. And this event of severity might be done in past simple tense. So what we learn passively when we have to differentiate two events in the past. So the event in the near past should be in the past simple, and the event in the far past should be with the past perfect. That is a passive learning that we discussed in view of tenses, specifically when we discuss about the summary skill, right? So anyhow, so at this point of time, we just discussed that which tense is more appropriate and how would we summarize. We'll discuss in a moment. But tense that should be used when we are summarizing the information is present perfect or past perfect. As you can see, as per the rules and regulation of perfect form of tense, we use to combine any event that started in past and either still continue okay or is finished in present. We use present perfect tense. So it's already evident from the basic rule that past perfect itself has a self ability to summarize the events when we use it. Anyhow, so like there, uh, I was discussing with you which tends to be used. So I will try to make it more precise and make it more clear to you. But before that, we use we have to discuss something more that in this part is important. And let's say the same thing if we have the repetition of the event, the chest pain is there with mild intensity on the first visit, and there are might be other information as well. I will show you. Then again, he has chest pain in mild intensity. Again, he has chest pain in mild intensity, right? So you can see that if I would not write down the intensity now, and even he has chest pain with fear intensity, but I am not writing chest pain, so I can write this sentence. He has been visiting my clinic over a period of blah blah weeks or months with chest pain. So I can use minus intensity with has been, that is present perfect. He has been visiting my clinic over a period of, let's say, blah blah time with chest pain. Then I can write down about the intensity, that is something else. But I'm just telling you, sometime we can use the topic sentence to start the paragraph to give you an idea that this paragraph will be covering majorly about the cardiac events or the chest pain. But if I would include the intensity with view, whatever you'll be writing, you would write it down with reference to today's perspective. It's very important for you to keep that thing in mind, specifically when we have to use the appropriate tense. That in this case, we can see there, let's say the same event, I can write down he had visited my clinic, let's say, over a period of blah blah time with mild exertional chest pain. So now the same sentence for the same event, we had used the had past perfect tense. Why? Because now currently he has fear pain in the today's visit. So I am making a quotation. I am relating this event with reference to the sphere pain, right? So with reference to this sphere pain, this event of mild chest pain remain continue for some period of time, but it's ended when the patient had this fear chest pain. So I'm using the past perfect tense, right? Anyhow, so I would like to display. So now, with reference to the summary skill, we can see that this is a case notes, a lot of information. The thing that is not being displayed on the screen is not there, but the fourth visit is not there. But in the fourth visit, we have severe chest pain, and the patient we are writing to the emergency registrar and we have the AMI and APO, that was the diagnosis, and his asthma was worsened. Anyhow, so now that was an overview to the case. Right now, we have to learn how would we summarize. So when we read the case notes, we can see there that the patient had mild intensity of chest pain the first visit on exertional insertion, right? In the second visit again, he still have the chest pain on exertion, the same one. On the third visit, again the same chest pain. So we can see that this is a repetition of event. As we can see, remember when we were discussing that thing, I mentioned that when we have a repetition of event, we can use the summary scale. Like we have to summarize that one. And with reference to today's perspective, when we have basically the severe chest pain and the intensity of chest pain has increased as compared to the last three visits, and now as compared to the examination, the patient has been diagnosed with something. So in that case, when we are writing a referral letter, in that case we have multiple events and that need to be summarized in a very short and compact manner. So you can see that we have mild intensity central chest pain, number one. Number second thing that you can see that is the ongoing issue is the asthma. Initially, it was mild in nature, but the second visit increasing, it's also being evident, let's say, increasing, let's say, increasing trend. So from mild to increasing trend asthma. So the second condition, as I mentioned, is the worsening or the progression. So we discussed for the both of the cases, either it's a repetition of event or it's a progression of the event. We have to basically use the perfect form of the tense, and we need to summarize them down. For summary, we can see if all of this given information is relevant. If all of this information is relevant, let's say, we have to write it down. We have to select some things. Let's say, how would we select them? We can write or organize the thoughts like, okay, this is your mild intensity chest pain, mild chest pain. Then we have maybe worsening of asthma. The second important point, I'm just taking the thing in my mind. When we can see that, okay, we have maybe ischemic heart disease, maybe non-compliance behavior. We have the, like, say, one pack smoker. We have drinks, 10 drinks, like alcoholic. We have family history, negative, and the list of the medicine. So these are the few points that we can keep in our mind when we are summarizing the case note.
सर पेपर में हम उसी
Question that is being asked, like, let's say there is even like three times the patient came to you with mild chest pain, right? And now in the last visit, on the fourth visit, he's here with severe chest pain. So if I will be writing this summary of these three visits with reference to intensity focus, I can write it down. He had visited our clinic, let's say thrice, over a period of
ये इंट्रोडक्शन विजिट होगा
uh, whatever time, 3 weeks, with mild exertional chest pain, right? So here we have focused on the intensity and we are using had with that. That I discussed with you, I can just write it down. He has been visiting my clinic over a period of blah blah time with a complaint of chest pain without mentioning the intensity. So basically, when we can write it down, like we can just write down, let's say whatever the name of the patient will be, Mr. X had visited us thrice with exertional, mild chest pain over a period of the last 3 weeks, let's say. Uh, Beside his ETT, Elite in full form, showed or confirmed that he had sign of, or we can write it down, sorry. We can change it. Let's say apart from ischemic heart disease, all of his investigations, including ECG, was normal. In addition, now I'm adding to his chest pain, his asthma has been worsening since his first visit due to non-compliance attitude toward the which includes, you can just write down, it can be ignored as well, as he has been a drinker, and he has been drinking, let's say, blah blah drinks per week, which had affected his compliance, right? We can write it down this thing. And afterward, we can write down like he is one pack smoker and drinker, right? That as well. So that is a summary of your all three visits, right? That is a summary of what we have discussed in the summary part, that we have selected the relevant information out of that relevant information. Let's say chest pain with in mild intensity, worsening of asthma, let's say ischemic heart disease, normal ECG, we selected smoker drinker, and we combine them in a compact small paragraph with the help of perfect form of tense. I hope this is clear to you now.